and welcome to another World of Warships video with me, Bubblebox, and today we're going to be having a look at the Wickes Class USA Destroyer, a Tier 3 destroyer. It's a little bit of historical gumph there if you want to have a look at that. Before we go in and have a look at the statistics for this ship, we'll compare it with the same tier Japanese ship as we normally do. And then we'll get on and have a look at some gameplay. So survivability wise, well, it's got a hit points of 8,900, which compares reasonably well with the same tier Japanese destroyer. Slightly better survivability though, but only very slight. Artillery wise though, it's got kind of a score of 21, whereas the Japanese tier 3 destroyer has only got a score of 18. But if we have a look at how these are placed around and about on the ship, basically it's got 4 102mm guns, one there, one on one side of the ship, one on the rear, and then one on the other side of the ship. But what that does mean is you can only actually have 3 guns trained on the enemy at any one time. However, these guns do turn very rapidly and can get on target nice and quickly, so they're pretty decent artillery compared to the tier 3 Japanese destroyers. So if you want to go up against a Japanese destroyer using main guns, you probably stand a fairly decent chance. As far as torpedoes are concerned, they have very powerful torpedoes, and they have 4 sets of 3 533mm torpedoes, 2 on one side of the ship and 2 sets on the other side of the ship as well. So you've got a lot of torpedoes, a lot of bang for your buck here. But the biggest problem, of course, with the American torpedoes is their range, and on this ship it's only 4.5 kilometers, and that has a real impact when we come to look at the detectability range shortly. AA guns, nothing to shout home about. You're not really going to knock down too many aircraft with those fairly measly AA guns with their fairly measly range as well. Maneuverability wise, it's pretty maneuverable. Of course, it's an American destroyer. A decent maximum speed for the tier, pretty similar to the Japanese. I think the Japanese one might be a little bit faster, I think. Turning circle radius is okay, but the rudder shift time is really fast, which means that you can change direction pretty rapidly if required, get out of the way of other enemy torpedoes. So pretty nice maneuverability wise. Concealment though is the big problem, and of course your surface detectability range is 6.7 kilometers. Well, I say it's a problem. It's a problem when it comes to firing torpedoes. Your surface detectability range is actually better than the same tier. I think it's better than the same tier Japanese destroyer, or very, very similar anyway. But your torpedo range, whereas in Japanese destroyers it's longer than their detectability range, the American destroyers it's almost, well, it's a lot less than the detectability range, which means you've got to get really close to fire torpedoes and you're going to be seen, which means you come up against a lot of problems in game with these types of ships. Unless you're really, really patient and really, really careful with these ships, you're going to die very quickly. If you're an impulsive player or not very experienced player, you're going to die in these sorts of ships very, very quickly. Having said all that, that is the statistics for the Wickes Class Tier 3 destroyer. So we're going to get in and have a look at a bit of gameplay. So here we are in our very difficult to use USA destroyer, the Wickes, our tier 3 destroyer. Just get our viewing distance sorted out first of all. Now, there are a couple of aircraft carriers on the opponent's team. We've got a couple as well. Only 2 battleships, and they've got 3 destroyers and 5 cruisers. Now the targets really that I tend to go for with this ship and the sort of American destroyers that I've used so far is go for other destroyers, because our artillery is pretty strong, and if we get up close to destroyers we can use our torpedoes, but our artillery is generally a little bit stronger than the Japanese tier similar tier destroyers. Battleships, if you can get close enough. Early on in the game, it's really hard to get close to these battleships because there are lots of cruisers hanging around. Cruisers you want to avoid like the plague with this thing, because these things are not that well armoured, and cruisers, fast firing cruisers with fast turning guns, will destroy you if they spot you at range. And so basically the things we really need to go for are the aircraft carriers and the destroyers, and possibly battleships if you can get close enough. Now early on in games it is hard to get really close to ships in these just American destroyers, so you've got to be really patient unless you're attacking other destroyers, of course, because there's so many ships, they tend to support each other, and if they see a American destroyer they'll just pop it out of the water as one of their primary targets. So we're just going to head over to the right side a bit, because I've spotted, they've got some spotting planes there, well, fighters, and a torpedo bomber, and they've come from the top right hand corner, so their aircraft carriers must be over near those two islands somewhere over the top right hand corner of the map. So we're going to head over there. And the other thing that's really important when using the American destroyers, because they're so difficult, is to have a good idea of what's going on the map and try to remember where things are, or know where things are, or in terms of the enemy ships on the map. Now what I have spotted is a cruiser, enemy cruiser coming down the middle there, and I need to avoid that. However, I have been detected by this fighter above us, which means that that destroyer, as you can see, is turning, is getting its guns on us, and we need to escape because that will destroy us. So I'm just going to smoke, use up one of our smokes. We've got to try and avoid this island as well, which is a pain because it's right next to me. So I'm going to have to swing to the left and then swing to the right again and try to get behind my smoke screen. There's a smoke screen been popped over to the right there as well, and there is a destroyer that's come out of the smoke screen. There's a destroyer there 6.7 k's away. That's going to detect me as well, because I am detected at 6.7 k's, but I'm going to try and get some shots off on this guy. Just, oh, that might be, well, that doesn't look too bad, although he has sped up. They might just miss. No, oh, they missed. He's turning. Oh, is he turning? No, he's still moving forward. He's actually sped up, so I need to extend my range a bit. Oh, he's turning now. He's turning away. I'll just get one hit on it. He's turning away. I'll get some more shots off. They're going to just be lucky if they hit as I go behind the island and get myself hidden again. So I just about managed to get out of that difficult situation against the cruiser and a destroyer as well. Although I did have some help in that a couple of our cruisers came in on the act there. But that's how easy it is to get killed. You get yourselves in those positions so easily in these with these American low-tier destroyers. So we're going to head up now. We're a bit out of position now, having fled from that little battle, and we're going to try and go up towards the left-hand side. We can spot a cruiser coming down right far left. The torpedo planes are heading back up to where I believe the aircraft carriers still are, kind of up that top little right area of the map. There's two cruisers now over on the right, so we've got to be a little bit careful, although kind of obviously we're well hidden behind the two massive rocks there. So we'll just keep steaming up. It's going to take us a little bit of time to get back into position to do some more attacking, but I haven't taken any hits yet, which is good. Oh, there's also a destroyer over there right on the far right. We've got a battleship which is heading into problems on its own over there, and a cruiser just ahead of us. There's another cruiser from the enemy coming across to the right, from the right over to our, from the left over to our right, and there's a torpedo bomber just appeared as well. And I have to say, with these American destroyers, I spend as much time looking at the mini-map as I do looking at the main map, to be honest. So that torpedo bomber is going to spot us, but that's not going to be a big problem because the two cruisers that are close to us, the two enemy cruisers, or three enemy cruisers now that are close to us, are all hidden behind the rocks. So even though they know we're here now, they can't really shoot at us. I just hope that torpedo bomber goes away so that we can get hidden. Now we're going to attack this cruiser that I think just turned to come down this gap. Now that other cruiser on the right there looks as if it's almost grounded. That may be grounded or maybe not, I'm not sure. But this cruiser is the one we're going to attack. We are getting nice and close to it. I did say avoid cruisers like the plague, but we don't have much choice here. So we're going to get some torpedoes off. If we can target this guy, we are in range now. And we're going to be able to scuttle behind this island once we're shot. Although there is another cruiser on the right there which is going to take shots at us. That was a terrible release there. We'll get our torpedoes off. Now they will hit, but only if he doesn't change course and direction. And we need to quickly get ourselves behind this island before he gets his guns trained upon us. He'll probably turn away, which he's doing now to avoid my second torpedo salvo. But we're going to concentrate on this guy over here now. Not sure. Yeah, he's definitely grounded there. So we'll start firing at this guy, see if we can get close enough before he shoots at us. Get some torpedoes off. His guns don't seem to be turning though. I'm not sure if he's even online. I'm not sure what he's doing. Maybe he went offline, that's why he's grounded. We might just be lucky and get a free kill here. Looks like his spotter plane's just landed back on the ship. We'll keep going over. Try and get a salvo of torpedoes off. Yeah, he doesn't... I'm not sure if that's moving. Is it going backwards? Get some torps off anyway. I don't think that's moving, you know. The guns aren't rotating. Did my torpedoes miss? I think some of them hit the island and only 2 actually went to the left. Oh, there's a destroyer over there as well. You can see in the background, 7.8k. So I've got to be a little bit careful now. And we'll go after that destroyer. So we'll just get some torpedoes off against this stationary cruiser. The destroyer's disappeared. Get some more shots off on the cruiser. Team-wise, we're a little bit behind now. We've lost a few more ships than the enemy, so I've got to be a bit careful here. If we can sink this thing, it would be a bit of a bonus. We've managed to take that AFK cruiser down. No, nothing too difficult, obviously, but at least we got a kill. He's turning away. He's very damaged. He's making a run for it now. He's gone behind his smoke screen by the looks of it. Yeah. It's not reappearing. There he is. He's just gone in the gap there. He's heading into the gap between the 2 islands. So what we'll do, we'll swing round to the right and we'll follow him round. He can't really turn around in that gap, so he's either got to stop or he's got to keep moving. So we'll use our speed boost to try and catch up with the guy. And hopefully we can catch up with him and he'll pop out the other side and we can finish him off with our artillery guns. You can see the enemy's aircraft carriers as well at the bottom of the map there, being attacked by one of our cruisers. So we know where their aircraft carriers are, but I'm just going to concentrate on this destroyer for a second first. Hopefully he'll pop out. And he hasn't stopped. There he is. He's really low on health. We just need to get a few nice hits on him. There's a couple of hits there. He's turning. Yeah, he's running. Oh no, he's straightened up again. He's down. Okay, nice. Well, he's got his torps off. Oh yeah, nice little spread there. Got to be a bit careful. Just do a little bit of dodging here. Ooh, that was quite close. So there's their aircraft carriers. So we'll head over towards their 2 aircraft carriers now. See if we can do them some damage. One of them's actually just been sunk by our cruiser, which also died at exactly the same time. So they kind of killed each other. But I have spotted a cruiser at range, at distance, over on the left there, 9k's away. So I've got to be a little bit careful so that I don't allow that to get within spotting range of me. So we'll just turn away because that's coming straight for me. And there's also a torpedo bombers that I need to not spot for that cruiser as well. So I'm just wondering if I should go back to my base and defend for a bit. We're on 5 ships now. Actually, we've caught up. We're on 5 ships. The enemy's only on 4 now, so that's quite good. So in fact we'll turn and we'll go for the remaining aircraft carrier, whilst trying to keep our distance away from that cruiser. Remember, our spotting distance is 6.7 kilometers, so as long as I keep that distance from the cruiser, we should be okay, as long as the aircraft carriers planes don't spot us. There's a torpedo bomber right there. So we'll head back over towards the island, keeping our distance from this cruiser. Again, got to be a little bit patient with the USA destroyers. So it's still kind of coming towards us, that cruiser, although I'm not sure what it's doing. I don't know, maybe it's going for our base, I'm not sure. It looks like it's going to go between the two islands, which means I can kind of head in slightly more of a direct line towards where that aircraft carrier was. So we'll do that. We'll head to our left a little bit. Yeah, he's definitely going up between the islands, so we can head straight for this little island now, and hopefully the aircraft carrier will pop out from behind it and we can maybe even sink this aircraft carrier. You can see the torpedo bomber there. That's probably just either maybe that's just landed on the aircraft carrier. But we're not going to see the aircraft carrier until we pop out behind this island. Yeah, that other cruiser definitely going for our base by the looks of it. Oh, there's the torpedo bombers reappeared. Maybe it's just scouting for the aircraft carrier. I'm not sure what it's doing. I'm just hoping that once we get around this island, that aircraft carrier will just suddenly appear and we can unleash 6 torpedoes into it. Now that torpedo bomber's getting very close. It's spotted us. So we've been detected. So no. Oh, there's the aircraft carrier. It's in their base. It has actually gone all the way over there from when we spotted it last. So it's still at a fair distance from us, not in range at all. But they've only got that cruiser and the aircraft carrier left. So there's nothing really to defend it apart from its own plane. So we're going to head straight for that aircraft carrier, which in fact is coming towards us. It's probably heading away from our other destroyer, which is probably also spotted, which has just got into their base. So we're going to head straight up towards this aircraft carrier, and as soon as my speed boost is enabled again, which is now, we'll whack that back on for a second time, and we're going to try and get really close to this thing before we unleash. I don't want to give it a chance to be able to dodge out of the way. We'll just open up with our artillery, of course, try and set it on fire if we can. But we're getting really close, really fast, because we're both steaming pretty much at full speed in towards each other. We're already nearly 3Ks. We'll get our torpedoes ready. I want to get as close as I possibly can. You can see our allies' torpedoes did fire at it. That's what it's running away from, but it's going to be running straight into ours. So it's opening up with its secondaries, but we're going to open up with our torpedoes. We'll get all 6 off, and that has no chance of avoiding those torpedoes. It's not going to be able to stop, dodge, or do anything. Beautiful.
Enemy aircraft carrier sunk. Problem solved, sir.
So we'll just head into their base and we'll assist our other destroyer here to capture the base. It seems the destroyers on our team done most of the killing in this game. The enemy pretty much lost now. They've got one cruiser left, which is in our base, but we've got 2 ships in their base, so we're going to capture quicker. And yeah, so to summarise, really, that's pretty much it for the Wickes Class USA Destroyer. You got to be patient, you got to be really careful and see what's going on in the map. Maybe just try to survive the first 5 or 10 minutes even, or 5 minutes I suppose, and then try to manoeuvre yourself into some nice positions using the rocks as cover, keeping away from those cruisers if you can, trying to attack the battleships, other destroyers and the aircraft carriers if you can get close enough to them and get through the defences. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this vid. Please do give us a like and comment and subscribe if you fancy it, and I'll see you in the next one.